Hello and welcome to another edition of Fork Full of Noodles. I am Krish Mohan. Mental illness. It's portrayed in films so that actors and actresses can win awards. There is a negative stigma attached to any persons with a mental illness. They're seen as assailants of mass shootings, Satan worshippers, and people that take Fox News seriously. But the reality is, they're not these type of people. They're just like you or me, but they have one difference. They have a chemical imbalance in their brain that stops them from being who they really are. It's like their brain forces them to act like they're on a first date all the time. They become someone they really aren't, which leads to awkward but zany predicaments. And the people around them get upset about this. We view them with distrust in society, pump them full of pills, and keep them in a locked, padded cell. Mentally ill people don't have anything wrong with them. What's wrong is how we as a society have been viewing them and what we do to them. There are several stigmas attached to mentally ill people. One of the biggest ones being is that they're going to snap and kill everyone. This is just not true. Mentally ill people are more often the victims of a crime rather than the perpetrators. Fear from normal folks drives them to take action when action wasn't needed. So really, who's the crazy one here? It's the guy with the baseball bat claiming that all the bipolaroids and the schizophrenics are coming for him and his fillings. There's also the stigma that psych drugs are going to help us predict when gun violence occurs. False. Psych meds don't transform you into an X-Man. One of the biggest misconceptions is that we should be afraid of loners. Fear the lone wolf. Which is an inaccurate statement because most wolves travel in packs, and the lone wolf gets eaten by a bear or a feral chipmunk. Sometimes you just want to get away from people. Just because you don't want to dance at the club listening to dubstep way too loud doesn't mean you're mentally ill. It means you hate dubstep and you prefer silence over the bastardized versions of a White Stripes song. You know, some people might say if you enjoy dubstep, you might be mentally ill. Think about that. We are all a little crazy. How many of us have stalked their exes on Facebook and thought about turning that digital act into a real life one? Look, Darlene, okay, that happened the one time, alright? I left my keys at your house after we broke up, so I had to set the garbage on fire because the rocks I was throwing at your window clearly weren't working, okay? There was no reason to call the boys in blue and the men in white coats. How many of us fantasize about killing our boss for making us write another meaningless report that goes nowhere? The problem is lack of positivity. The negative stigmas associated with these folks keeps them out of society and villainizes them. We've been looking at mental illness in a disease model. With our advancements in psychology, we have 14 treatable diseases. We can measure things like depression and alcoholism. You know, if you're plucking a flower saying, she loves me not, you might not be that depressed. You might need a brisk walk and a friend to remind you that women are aplenty in this world. But if every day is a struggle to wake up and you don't see sunshine for weeks, perhaps it's time to talk to your loved ones and see if therapy is an option. We can find out if you have a genetic predisposition to certain mental illnesses and what environmental factors can ensure they aren't triggered. But this makes psychologists victimizers. They only look for a way to make us slightly less miserable. That way we don't bum out our friends and families. Hey, you seem to be upset because of a wiring in your brain. Here's a pill that'll make you more tolerable to be around. Go tell a therapist about your feelings now. But the focus wasn't on trying to make us happier. There is a better way of treating mental illness, and it's with positive psychology. This is a type of psychology that focuses on trying to make people happier rather than just slightly less miserable and more tolerable. Dr. Martin Seligman, the director of the Penn Positive Psychology Center and the founder of positive psychology, says it has 3 goals. 1. We should be just as concerned with building strengths as we are with weakness. 2. We should be just as concerned with building the best things in our lives as we are with repairing the worst. 3. We should be concerned with nurturing the lives of normal people as we do with the lives of geniuses, rather than focusing on what makes us fall into states of depression, mania, and insanity. Positive psychology focuses on how to maintain levels of happiness, productivity, and how to prevent the things that get in the way or at least adapt to them. It focuses on what makes life worth living. Dr. Seligman found that the thing that makes happy and optimistic people differ from others is that they are social, which makes sense. Social creatures like dolphins seem to be smarter and more excited about life. Fishing, swimming, doing flips. They're also awesome communicators and let other dolphins know when they're bumming out or just frustrating the pod. Orcas, another very social creature and a species of dolphins, are more in touch with their emotions than humans are. They're also very aware of the film Blackfish, and they aren't terribly happy about that either. But is anyone really happy about going to SeaWorld? It's like Geauga Lake without the roller coasters, but with more animal suffering and cotton candy. This is the pleasant life, one of the 3 principal parts of positive psychology. This is where you aim to have as many good experiences and pleasures as possible. The downfall of this is it can get addictive and become habitual, kind of like the cotton candy at SeaWorld. Once you get a hit of that sweet cotton in your face, you want more to drown the fact that you are still at SeaWorld. Tilikum, let me come save you! Just eat this pure sugar-based fluff ball and it'll all be okay. The Pleasant Life shows you how to utilize pleasurable things in your life to make you happier. The Good Life. This is where you find work, love, and play. You find which one is your strength and redraft the other 2 to fit your strength. If you're a career-driven person, then you make work the thing you love and something you can have fun with. It's the idea of Zen, being one with the thing that brings you happiness. It's like how an orca can be happy in the ocean without tweeting about the kind of stingrays they've eaten that day. Mostly because orcas are more focused on the work they have to put into hunting, eating, and living in their pods, which they love doing so that they can continue doing flips so that the douchebag surfer on the beach can be like, "Oh man, that was gnarly, bro," as he buys his 4th puka shell necklace. The only thing an orca loves more and is happier about is an abandoned water park with a dust outline of their logo and boarded up windows where local skate groups go to do ollies and kickflips. That brings us to the meaningful life. Human beings are looking for a purpose. What's the grand scheme that we're all a part of? So we look for a purpose, but we can't truly find one until we open up and look at our options. Dr. Seligman says it is our right as human beings to have meaning in our lives. We're all in service to something bigger, to each other. Our goal might be to free the orcas and let them back to dominating the oceans, or burn down the cotton candy stand at SeaWorld. You've taken your last damn tooth, cotton candy, man. Right? I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. But whatever it might be, it's our drive to find purpose that keeps us going. And once we've achieved it, it's our drive to keep that purpose that keeps us going and happy. Searching and having purpose is one of the things that keeps human beings at the top of the food chain. Once the orcas take down Gary, the master of cotton candy at SeaWorld, and find out there are so many worse things in this world than cotton candy, like global warming, gun violence, Fox News, it'll be a matter of time till the killer whales find their purpose to knock humanity off its throne and take back the planet. It won't be Planet of the Apes, it'll be the Planet of the Whales, which is not that far-fetched considering we're doing jack shit to stop climate change. With positive psychology, there are ways to focus on these things and improve mental health, increase happiness and pleasure, and find meaning in our lives. Setting a day aside and making it beautiful. A day where you go and do everything you enjoy and find pleasurable. Go ahead, drink that milkshake, run through the park, loiter, hug a barista. If you're a woman, show a Republican your right to choose. Letting an important person in your life know exactly how important they are to you. Just as a reminder, you should call your mother. I should call my mother. Nurture the strengths of your partner. Sit down with a loved one and use your strengths to build their strengths. You might discover that you like crocheting. Do something fun and philanthropic. Take a homeless guy to SeaWorld and have him help you free Tilikum. This is a double whammy. Not only have you freed a majestic creature, but you've helped a homeless man feel less isolated from the world and returned his humanity to him. Philanthropy achieved. The only thing more we can do for the homeless man is to give him a home. These are just a few small examples on how to make your life and the lives of those around you much happier. People who suffer from mental illness aren't crazy. Crazy is a misdefined term for them. We should reserve that word for somebody that deserves it. Crazy people aren't the ones claiming they see devil in Starbucks or shift moods every hour or can't look at the color red. No, crazy people are the ones that worship money, that think that they can dictate what other people get to do with their bodies. They use religion as a tool for war and continue to let Rush Limbaugh on the air. You get the idea. Folks that have mental illnesses aren't crazy or broken, they're in repair. I believe John Mayer sang a song about this a few years ago. Contrary to popular belief, that song is not about his breakup with Jennifer Aniston or Taylor Swift. Focusing on the positives and finding out what you can do to make yourself and people around you happy can change the way you view the world. If we all work together to validate each other's strengths, we can reduce the amount of alienation. Even if your strength is to psychologically damage orcas for show, we'll validate the fact that eventually the whale will have its day and find lunch in your soft, supple body. Rather than look down on yourself, focus on all your accomplishments. That'll help you pick yourself back up and you can continue doing what you love. Rather than focusing on how terrible life is around us, let's focus on how we can better the bad situations. Rather than only worrying about ourselves, if we focus on enriching each other's lives, we can start living in a better world. By applying some of the basic principles of positive psychology to find meaning, love, and pleasure in our lives, we can shift our thinking and reduce misery and violence that we see in today's society. If we keep on the track we're on, we'll all wind up being as depressed as a whale in a tank at SeaWorld, eating way too much cotton candy. And I will not let Gary have his day.